The National Executive Committee declares the theme for 2021 to be Unity, Renewal, and Reconstruction in the year of Charlotte Maxeke.
The past year has been challenging for all of us. The coronavirus and its impact has been felt the world over. But the strength of the South African people has always been measured by its resilience and fortitude, and the willingness to unite and stand together. The African National Congress proudly presents the Progressive Business Forum, the platform to herald a new dawn for the South African economy, bringing accountability, transparency, and opportunity to the business community, and striving to give effect to the call for a social compact with business. The Progressive Business Forum harnesses the power of technology, making it easier than ever before to unlock your business's potential. As a truly inclusive portal for all, your inputs are now able to reach the highest level of attention of our ANC leadership and government leaders, connecting you to an economic hub bursting with possibilities. It's a new modern look, underpinned by a traditional set of values that puts you, our subscribers, first. So, how can you be a part of it? Simple. Sign in, enter your business's details, and choose the package that best represents your company's goals. Our platform is safe, easy to use, POPIA compliant, and joining gains you access to a galaxy of benefits. From exclusive ministerial networking events to world-class webinars, workshops, skills training, trade facilitation, women in business, and so much more, the Progressive Business Forum platform becomes your gateway to a future never dreamed possible. Together, let's resolve the challenges facing our country and build a prosperous future. South Africa is ready to grow. Are you?
Welcome to the South Africa-Kenya Business Webinar, Growing and Promoting Business. Thank you so much for your audience. My name is Sindy Mabe, and I have the enviable task of facilitating this high priority meeting. And I'd like to make the acknowledgements as followed. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Honorable Nomalungelo, Gina, High Commissioner of South Africa to Kenya, His Excellency Mahlangu, High Commissioner of Kenya, Her Excellency Catherine Mwangi, and the ANC Treasurer General, Paul Mashatile, PBF Convenor, Mr. Sipho Mbele, our esteemed panelist, Mr. Moffat Andanje, Chairperson of the Kenya-South Africa Chamber of Business, Dr. Peter Karungu, CEO of Synthecon, and Mr. Sanele Masuku of the Sanron Oil Group. To our subscribers and audience on social media, we are live streaming and simulcasting on all platforms. You're welcome to follow us on social media. The handle is at MyANC or at Kenya Embassy and at ANC PBF. And if I may just request that if you have any questions after each speakers, we will accommodate or try as much as possible to accommodate your questions as well. It is a high-powered and high-priority meeting to essentially give feedback on the trade commissions and missions that have taken place between the two countries and is championed and being made possible by the Progressive Business Forum. So with those words, I'd like to welcome the convener, Mr. Sipho Mbele, to give us a scene setter and a bit of context as to why we are here this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much. Your time starts now. You have 5 minutes, convener.
Thank you, Program Director Sindy Mabe. Comrade Paul Mashatile, the Treasurer General of the African National Congress, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, Honorable Gina, the High Commissioner of South Africa to Kenya, Honorable Mahlangu, the High Commissioner Catherine Mwangi of Kenya to South Africa, the Kenyan Business Representative, Dr. Peter Karungu, Mr. Moffat Andanje, the South African Business Representatives, Mr. Sanele Masuku of Sanron, ambassadors and the heads of missions from countries represented in South Africa, Ambassador Peter from the Netherlands, the Indian delegation, and other countries present today, officials and representatives from various departments who are attending today's event, the PBF subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome everyone to this important webinar, South Africa, Kenya, Growing and Promoting Business. Let me share something about the progressive business. The PBF is a subscriber-based organization. We run several programs as per our mandate, including the ministerial briefings, research and roundtable discussions, business summits, skills training and development workshops. We organize trade exhibition, we facilitate trade missions, and we organize events focusing on women. Pre the COVID times, PBF used to take the delegations to countries abroad to meet with their business counterparts and attend the trade shows and exhibitions. In addition, the PBF will receive visiting foreign business delegations and match the visiting delegations with their South African counterparts. These engagements were positive and fruitful. Due to the COVID challenges, we were unable to take our delegates abroad, but now we're using these webinars to provide an opportunities for subscribers and business to engage with their counterparts in other countries. Let me say this, ladies and gentlemen, under the leadership and the guidance of Comrade Paul Mashatile, the Treasurer General of the African National Congress, we have continued to explore opportunities for South Africans to engage at home and abroad. We have embarked on a series of engagement with various missions based in South Africa to explore and enhance business opportunities between the Progressive Business Forum subscribers and the businesses who are represented in our country. I must say, we are thrilled today to have the High Commissioner of South Africa to Kenya, Mr. Mahlangu, the Kenyan High Commissioner to South Africa, Ms. Mwangi, with us today to launch the first series of engagement with the embassies and the High Commissioner based in South Africa so that we are able to connect and talk and explore business opportunities. Why today's event? Today's event is aimed at ensuring that we explore the relationships between the two countries in terms of business and investment. Again, what we're trying to do, we'll also work within the framework of Africa Continental Trade Agreement. It is indeed exciting for me to invite our speakers to engage with us. And we'll hear from the Treasurer General of the ANC, the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, the High Commissioners. That will be our key speakers and our panelists. So we'd like to invite all of you to engage with us, and we'd like to encourage you to participate actively and avail yourself to opportunities being presented to learn and to be informed. In that note, Program Director, let me take this opportunity to welcome everyone today on behalf of the Progressive Business Forum. I thank you.
Thank you, Convenor. Much appreciated indeed. And I can tell that you also press for time because we know that time is money, and especially in this digital age where we're competing, or there's a barrage of all other distractions that is competing for our attention. So thank you very much to keeping to the time. Speaking of which, on the Q&A already, we have people asking, is this recording going to be available for later viewing? So thank you for setting the scene and giving us the context. We'll swiftly move to the Treasurer General, Mr. Paul Mashatile, who will also give us his opening remarks. And we know that he has not single-handedly, but spearheaded and championed the need for integrated or an inclusive economy, primarily when it comes to the advancement of Black economic participation, creating opportunities, and making sure that the requisite capital and resources are available. So with those words, it's over to the ANC Treasurer General, Paul Mashatile. You're welcome, and your 5 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Ms. Mabe, our moderator. And let me greet Comrade Nomalungelo, Gina, our Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, His Excellency Mahlangu, the South African High Commissioner to Kenya, Her Excellency Catherine Mwangi, the Kenyan High Commissioner to South Africa, and other members of the diplomatic corps. I'm told we may have with us representatives from the Indian High Commission and the Royal Dutch Embassy. Mr. Moffat Andanje, the Chairperson of Kenya-South Africa Chamber of Business, Convenor of PBF, Mr. Sipho Mbele, business leaders who have joined us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this important South African Kenya business webinar. I have no doubt that this webinar will go a long way in strengthening trade and investment between South Africa and Kenya. This webinar draws particular significance in the context of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, recently finalized by countries on our continent. As you know, this agreement will create the world's largest single market, encompassing 55 countries with a combined population of 1.2 billion people and a collective GDP of 3.2 trillion US dollars. The agreement places our continent firmly on a path towards a brighter, inclusive, and more prosperous future. It is also an important step in ensuring that as Africans, we take our rightful place as a major trade, economic, and investment bloc in the world economy. This we can say without fear of contradiction, that as a result of this agreement, no longer will the destiny of our continent be determined in faraway lands outside our continent. Finally, as Africans, we are beginning to take our destiny into our own hands. I trust that business people in South Africa and Kenya will use this agreement as a lever through which to strengthen trade and investment between our two countries. This South Africa-Kenya webinar is an important intervention towards this end. We must take advantage of our country's strategic location on the African continent, with Kenya as a gateway to East Africa and South Africa as a gateway to SADC region. Ladies and gentlemen, the message we are bringing to this webinar is that South Africa is open for business. Like many other countries in the world, our country is battling the devastating COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to destroy lives and livelihoods. Our government is doing everything necessary to overcome this pandemic. This includes accelerating the rollout of vaccines. In the face of extreme difficulty, we are encouraged that our economy has been resilient and durable. So too have the people of our country. Last year, in response to COVID-19 pandemic, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced an economic reconstruction and recovery plan. At the center of this plan is the goal of building a fast-growing, more inclusive economy, propelled by greater levels of public and private sector investment. This plan is also about ensuring that we break the back of persistent poverty, unemployment, and inequality that continue to plague our country. We are pleased that the interventions we have been making as part of our reconstruction and recovery plan are beginning to yield results. There are clear signs that our economy is gradually emerging from the devastation brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. We are also seeing signs that our government's laser focus on implementing economic reforms, which began before the pandemic, is paying off. These reforms include measures to improve efficiencies at our ports, as well as re-regulation of our electricity sector to allow firms to more easily increase their investments in embedded and distributed electricity capacity. Respectively, these measures will lead to greater global competitiveness of our airport and will strengthen our energy security. We are finalizing the issue of spectrum allocation as part of our overall commitment to reducing the cost and ensuring the ease of doing business. In addition, significant progress has been made towards ensuring greater policy and regulatory certainty in important sectors such as energy and telecommunications. We are emboldened that most economists, agencies have adjusted their growth projections for the South African economy. The IMF has revised upwards its growth forecast for South Africa from 2.8% to 3.1% for this year. Only this morning, we received the news that the World Bank has raised its 2021 GDP growth forecast for South Africa to 4%, from its previous estimate of 3.5. As a leading commodity producer, we expect that the currently high commodity prices will attract capital inflows into our mining sector and boost the fortune of domestic producers and our overall economy. Aided by lower interest rates and some income growth, households' demand is also picking up. Last year, South Africa registered its second highest agricultural export earnings on record and is headed for a second bumper year this year. Our manufacturing sector, driven largely by automotive and automotive components exports, is also recovering and expanding rapidly. Our financial services sector has also proven to be resilient and is growing at a fast pace. Asset prices are recovering, bank loan default rates are stabilizing, and our financial institutions remain well capitalized. We can also report that our request to build a capital state is steadily gaining momentum, and we continue to strengthen and improve the efficiency and effectiveness of our state institutions. As a result of improved state capacity and more effective collaboration, our ongoing fight against corruption has also gathered. Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to reiterate that South Africa remains the preferred location for multinational investors seeking opportunities on the African continent. However, we are aware that our economy and our business, we are aware that for our economy and our businesses to prosper, we need the rest of the continent to grow with us. The kind of growth we envisage for our continent is that which ensures that no one is left behind. It is for this reason that we'll continue to place a high premium on promoting trade, investment, business linkages with our sister countries on the continent. Business people must be at the forefront of this process, assured in the knowledge that Africa's time has come. Program Director, as I conclude, I wish to indicate that as the African National Congress, we condemn in the strongest possible terms the ongoing sporadic acts of violence, looting, and destruction of property. Those who conduct these acts are not representatives of who we are as South Africans, a nation at peace with itself and the world. We are particularly concerned that these acts will undermine our efforts to revive the economy, attract investment, and create jobs so that we can deal decisively with the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Our task at the moment is to build and not to destroy, as the President said last night. Accordingly, we call on government to take firm action to protect lives, property, and livelihoods, so that as a nation, we can be seized with the important task at hand. I wish this webinar all the success, and I want to thank you very much, Program Director, for giving me this opportunity.
Relebogile thata ANC Treasurer General Repo Mashatile. I think it is a welcoming, sense of hope that we have in these very trying times, that the progress that has been made is a collaborative effort, in the sense that the Africa Free Trade or Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement had been ratified and signed by all the countries, if not withstanding one or two, and the fact that the majority of the wealth of the country or the continent will then benefit the people that live in it. I am very grateful that you also outlined the prospects or projections that can give us a sense of hope in the the GDP growth outlook. As you mentioned, the World Bank now placing us at 4%. I think that those milestones haven't been reached in recent history, and that we can also boost the efforts that have been made so far, infrastructure development and providing much needed quality services, securing energy and telecommunications. So thank you very much for that, Treasurer General. I must apologize if I do sound intermittent. For some reason, it might even have to do with the weather, that if I do break up now and again, I do apologize. I'll try and reconnect. But thanks indeed, Treasurer General, and to the convener. We're now going to move to the High Commissioner of South Africa to Kenya, His Excellency M.J. Mahlangu, will also give a presentation. I had a pleasure of chatting to him offline a little bit earlier on to say, you know, these two powerhouses are also mutually beneficial and strategically positioned to be the next frontier that is going to bring Africa to its glory. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, High Commissioner of South Africa. It's over to you. Your 5 minutes starts now. High Commissioner, your microphone is muted.
Thank you, Sindy. Can you hear me now?
Well, loud and clear. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sindy, for the opportunity. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, Honorable Nomalungelo Gina, PBF Convenor, Mr. Sipho Mbele, ANC Treasurer General, Mr. Paul Mashatile, High Commissioner of Kenya in the Republic of South Africa, Her Excellency Catherine Mwangi, Honorable Diplomatic Corps, distinguished business persons, all of you, Kenya and South Africa, thank you very much during this time of this webinar. Let me begin my remarks by extending my gratitude to the Progressive Business Forum and the High Commissioner of Kenya in South Africa for the invitation to speak at this first bilateral business engagement that is being held between the two countries, since both Excellencies Catherine Mwangi and myself took up our positions earlier in this year. South Africa and Kenya are the leading economies in each of our regions. The two countries enjoy strategic and cordial political and economic relations at the highest level. We also share common aspirations in that our government are at the various stages of implementing socio-economic development programs that are aimed at eradicating the triple ills of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. In this regard, South Africa has developed an economic reconstruction and recovery plan that looks at bolstering economic activity and shoring up productivity and employment. Similarly, Kenya has made a significant progress in implementing its Vision 2030 document through the Big Four. I'm very encouraged by this enduring spirit of our business people who have decided to forge ahead and still meet virtually despite travel restrictions brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. I therefore urge you to take advantage of the opportunities that will be presented by Her Excellency Catherine Mwangi. I can attest to the fact that Kenya is a country that is thriving through improving its business climate. This is not just my opinion, it is a view that is shared by the South African businesses that are based here, which I have the privilege to meet with. I can confirm that one entity will expand its Kenyan footprint by operating 3 more stores in Kenya before the end of this year, making a total of 8 outlets. One other company will be relocating its manufacturing and distribution center to the Tatu City Special Economic Zone in order to meet the growing demand of its project. A joint venture between Kenya and South Africa private sector players will culminate in the largest cold storage facility in East Africa in approximately 16 months. There are few companies to make a part of, these few companies are making part of the 41 South African entities that have invested in Kenya across various sectors. The total value of this investment is approximately 6.84 billion, having created 2,712 jobs. These achievements are not easy feat, and they have ensured that South Africa remains amongst the top 5 investors in very dynamic and highly competitive market. That is not to say that there are no challenges that are experienced by the business community. Our two countries will be inaugurating Joint Commission for Cooperation in August 2021. The JCC is a government-to-government commission that enables officials from the clusters of diplomatic, security, and social clusters to deliberate on issues of common interest. Deputy Minister Gina or Minister Patel will be convening with their counterparts from Kenya Ministry of Industry, Industrialization, Trade and Development to consider issues that impede trade and investment for the business community in the economic cluster. At the same time, cooperation between our state-owned entities will be enhanced with a view to making significant investment in participating in various infrastructure development programs, such as the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport, which is called LAPSET Corridor Program. Deputy Minister Gina, I look forward to hosting you or Minister Patel as the heads of economic cluster at the August JCC here in Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, High Commissioner Mwangi, I and Commissioner Mwangi have been also at hard work making preparatory arrangement for President Uhuru Kenyatta to meet with President Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa this year as well. This meeting by the two heads of state represents the highest level of political and economic goodwill between our two countries. I would like to close my remarks by encouraging you to collaborate with your counterparts. The South African High Commission remains at your disposal for any support and guidance that you may need. Our contact details have been shared with the organizer. May I take this opportunity to wish you great success in your deliberation. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Asante sana.
Asante Sana, thank you so much, Your Excellency, much appreciated indeed. And thank you for taking time to join us on this very high priority meeting. I love the sense that I got is that there are clear strategies to realize the dream of a progressive and economically self-sustained and globally competitive continent that can draw from its own strengths and trade with its neighbors and reduce the over-reliance on the West. I like what you said, Your Excellency, about using government levers that they can have a meaningful impact and make sure that budgets are allocated where they ought to go, and that we can then claim again the status of being a winning continent. Thank you so much that we can then take this forward and unpack it, as you'll have the South African delegate and vice versa visiting each other to fine-tune where the opportunities reside, low-hanging fruit, and assisting emerging and established businesses to benefit from each other. With those words, I'd like to invite the High Commissioner of Kenya, Her Excellency Catherine Mwangi, who will then give us an overview of the potential opportunities that we can all explore. It's over to you, Your Excellency Mwangi.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me apologize that I've had such challenges trying to connect, but I hope that you can all hear me. And to start, let me thank you very much, Program Director, for this opportunity, and really commend you very highly for the manner in which you are managing this meeting. Honorable Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Treasurer General of the ANC, Excellency, dear colleague, and my dear friend, Ambassador Mahlangu, the High Commissioner of South Africa to the Republic of Kenya. And let me also recognize with appreciation the convener of this forum, Sipho Mbele. Thank you, Sipho, for really, you have been on my case for us to get this going. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, allow me to first register my sincere appreciation to all the participants and to thank the organizers of Progressive Business Forum for organizing this important business webinar dubbed Growing and Promoting Business. Let me also appreciate the remarks of those that have spoken before me and say that personally, I am very, very excited and encouraged by the prospects that this engagement today will afford both Kenya and South Africa business person as they engage in the future. Kenya and South Africa enjoy warm and cordial relations that have continued to thrive since inception. Trade is a very central and significant pillar in Kenya's relations with South Africa. Therefore, promoting business between Kenya and South Africa is of utmost importance. The trade relations between Kenya and South Africa are governed by the trade agreement that was signed between the two countries in 2008. This was, of course, given further impetus by the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, the AfCFTA, whose aim is to boost intra-African trade. This was signed on December 5, 2020. By the African Union member states, and it was in fact adopted in the Johannesburg Declaration, and the start of trading was on the 1st of January of this year. This platform provides us with an excellent opportunity of not only enhancing our bilateral trade, but also boosting trade between the East African community and the Southern African Development Community, SADC. Kenya presents unique opportunities and cards a competitive edge in the region as a preferred location for investments. Investment opportunities exist in nearly all the sectors of Kenya's economy, as stipulated in Kenya's Development Blueprint Vision 2030, the High Commissioner referred to it, whose goal is to create a globally competitive and prosperous country with a high quality life for all its citizens that will transform Kenya into a newly industrialized middle income country and attain the Sustainable Development Goals by the year 2030. In addition, Kenya government's medium-term plan of the year 2018 to 2020 highlights 4 key priority areas for investments that were announced by President Kenyatta at the beginning of his second term of presidency. These outline the investment areas that the government is focusing on during this period of 2018 to 2020, as it implements the above-mentioned development blueprint. These 4 areas are 1, food security, 2, manufacturing, and mainly focusing on job creation, 3, affordable universal healthcare, and 4, affordable housing. To actualize these investment opportunities, the government has taken decisive steps to ensure that the potential investment opportunities presented through the above-mentioned areas is harnessed. Indeed, Kenya is among the 10 most improved countries in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Report 2019, having moved from position 80 in 2017 to position 56 in 2029. So if we look at the area of manufacturing, there is great potential for investment in the textile industry, while there is also big demand for electronic goods, paper made from traditional raw materials, and automotive parts. The government targets to increase manufacturing share of GDP from 9.2% that it was in 2016 to 15% by 2022. Agro-processing to at least 50% of total agricultural input. I recognize that agro-processing is a major area for South Africa in which you have great expertise, and I hope that this is an area where we can work together. Despite the COVID pandemic leading to huge economic disruptions, it has also led to the emergence of new opportunities around the areas of manufacturing, for instance, of pharmaceuticals, apparels and textiles, especially in personal protective equipment, the PPEs, that includes face masks and other related textiles goods. The export processing zones and special economic areas offer attractive opportunities for South African firms to invest. The Lamu port, which is termed a LAFSET, which is the South Sudan, the Kenya, South Sudan, and Ethiopia corridor. Konza City, again, the ambassador had referred to this, as well as tourism and hospitality industry are a wonderful opportunity for South Africa. In addition, a joint research by KPMG identified 76 untapped investment opportunities in Kenya within the 14 sectors represented by manufacturing in Kenya. These include digital production technology, electronic equipment, and medical equipment. The area of affordable housing, the government targets to provide 500,000 new affordable houses across the country by 2022. Various policies and programs are now in place that encourage investment in this sector. There are also incentives for investment in this sector, including available land for investment at no cost. And also, of course, we have availability of horizontal infrastructure, such as roads and rail, among others, that will make the development of this housing achievable and attainable. Universal health coverage, the third pillar, the government targets to achieve 100% universal health coverage. This is an area with great potential for investment. And finally, food security and nutrition as the fourth pillar. The government targets 100% food and nutrition security. Agriculture is the mainstay of Kenya's economy, with abundant opportunities for investment in the following areas: seed production, manufacture of sprayers and pesticides, installation of irrigation systems to forestall the over-reliance of rain-fed agriculture, which is, of course, susceptible to the vagaries of weather, and, of course, post-harvest processing. I talked about agro-processing, and this is a big area for Kenya because most of our food products are being exported in their raw capacity. Therefore, the return for the farmer is low. These goods find their markets outside, they are processed outside, and they find their way back to the Kenyan market processed and that much way expensive. So agro-processing is a big area for Kenya. This is a big desire that Kenya would start to processing agricultural product so that by the time it's being exported, it's ready for the shelves in the supermarkets, wherever it is that we export. The other area that I think is of great interest in Kenya is energy. Kenya is one of the most developed energy sectors in sub-Saharan Africa, which happened following the market liberalization in 1997 that allowed independent power producers to venture into the field of power production. Active private sector participation, coupled with a favorable policy and regulatory framework geared towards encouraging private sector participation, Kenya also has a favorable macroeconomic policy that encourages the participation of international private sector. Abundant opportunities exist in the area of renewable energy resources, especially geothermal, wind, and solar, which have contributed immensely to the growth of Kenya's energy sector. I'm pleased to highlight that Kenya has benefited in this area from South African investment. For example, Harif General Partners invested $70 million in clean wind energy in Kenya. And as we know, over $500 million across the African power sector via the new fund. In addition, the Public Investment Corporation, PIC, of South Africa is a major shareholder in the Kenya Energy Corporation, KENGEN, one of our best performing public sector agencies. The other area of interest for investment is the tourism and hospitality industry. This is a major foreign exchange earner for our country and has significant investment opportunities across the divide of tourism and hospitality. Of course, this includes conferencing facilities, hotels, cottages, and now very recently, eco-friendly tourism facilities and parks and activities. So this is a big area. And of course, cruise ship tourism. Kenya, as you know, has been in the tourism business for a long time. And we believe this is a sector that we understand. We understand it in terms of delivery of service and ensuring that visitors to Kenya do enjoy an experience that is world-class. And this is one of those areas that has huge potential for investment and almost with a guaranteed return, because tourism has been a big area for Kenya. It is perfectly marketed, and therefore the uptake on investment is extremely vibrant and almost guaranteed. Then there's obviously sports. Kenya is a sporting nation, well-renowned for athletics. There's great potential to invest in athletics by setting up centers for training and other sporting facilities such as golf courses, car, and horse racing. And I know I can say without fear of contradiction that I am completely fascinated by the level of golf development in South Africa. It is amazing how seriously South Africans take golf, and I think this is an area that Kenya could benefit from. We've got many golfers, but I don't think we've invested in that area. So again, sports is another area that gives opportunity, and not only as an investment opportunity, but I think as a people-to-people engagement. I think sports and culture and arts give people a wonderful opportunity for engagement and interaction. And this would be a wonderful opening for the people of South Africa, the people of Kenya, to get to interact, to get to know each other. When the High Commissioner spoke, he talked about the wonderful relations that exist between the top leadership of our two countries, and that again is a fact. But how wonderful it would be if we could bring this relationship to the next level down, so that South Africans and Kenyans can get to interact and engage, not just in trade and industry, but also in leisure, in sports, in arts, and crafts and heritage. And finally, ICT. This is a major driver of the Kenyan economy, particularly with regard to mobile telephony services. Kenya enjoys a well-developed communications network, and there are great opportunities for provision of IT and related services. We especially in call centers and business process outsourcing. Again, there's opportunity in financial services, the communication sector, transport, and mining. So finally, as I'm coming to a close, why invest in Kenya? Kenya is undoubtedly the largest and most advanced economy in East and Central Africa. Kenya, yes, gives an opportunity to South Africa to enter this market. With the strong growth prospects supported by investment in infrastructure and an emerging urban middle class, Kenya is ranked the third largest economy in sub-Saharan Africa with a GDP of 88 billion US dollars. Kenya is also among the 10 most improved economies in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business report of 2019. As I said, it rose from position 80 in 2017 to position 56 in 2019. Kenya enjoys a political stability and favorable investment environment, which is supported by the Constitution. The national and county governments work with the private sector as a key partner in the development and growth of the industry. Kenya has an extremely well-developed private sector and presents many opportunities for investments in sole and joint ventures and PPPs, private-public partnerships. This is something that Kenya has developed, especially in the recent years, and is very keen to look at sustainable public-private partnership arrangements. And I think this is something that I will be spending a lot of time with business people in South Africa, just trying to make that connection. Kenya has a large, highly educated, highly skilled, and very trainable workforce, with the population aged between 15 and 60 accounting for 57% of the total population. So it is a young population, a young, vibrant population. Kenya has one of the highest rates of internet access in the continent, with 89.4%. Approximately 42.6 million people of its population having internet access, making it ideal for investment in internet-driven and knowledge economy. Kenya has an extensively developed banking industry, serving the domestic, regional, and global brands. In addition, Kenya tops in mobile money penetration globally with 100% mobile money penetration. Finally, we have an effective legal framework to promote trade. The Public-Private Partnership Act of 2013 provides a legal framework for government and private sector investment engagements, while the special economic zones, including integrated infrastructure facilities, investment incentives within Kenya that we have put in place. So I hope that I have given an overview and an idea of the investment climate in our country, and why really we believe that Kenya and South Africa make a winning team when it comes to trade and investment and engagement and collaboration in the areas of trade and in investment. I thank you very much all for listening to me. And again, thank you very much, Program Director, for this opportunity. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Much appreciated, Excellency Mwangi. And you've whet the appetite of our subscribers and members with the people giving their business addresses. We know that previously there had been businesses that lament the skewed trade between South Africa and Kenya. I think South Africa exporting up to about $600 million of trade versus about only under $10 million in trade. So just the reaction we're getting from the chat group, if you have an opportunity or your assistant that can answer specifically, because these are directed to the sectors that you were speaking to, very high tech, intense, capital intensive, labor intensive industries such as energy, the ICT sector, infrastructure and roads, the companies here wanting to export or import even opportunities, goods and services from Kenya. I would really, really appreciate if we can attend to this in real time, as there are many of these questions, Your Excellency. Whatever you can respond to now, we can take the rest a little bit later. But I love how you just really went out to give us this scenic view, number one, what we can experience in Kenya from the wildlife and agriculture in terms of food security and the opportunities that reside in those sectors as mentioned. So much appreciated again, Your Excellency, and thank you again for your time. Colleagues, if I may now introduce, in fact, I just quickly want to look at these questions in terms of what the audience are saying and business people as well. Tammy, for one, is in the construction company and wants to find out about opportunities in the building and renovation sector. And maybe what Deputy Minister can touch on, primarily what I get is a common thread that says these seems like very high-end pipeline opportunities and not necessarily accommodating to small, medium enterprises. If you will just touch on that as well in your presentation, Deputy Minister, on how then do we make these tangible to SMMEs in both countries. It's with those words that I'd like to invite Deputy Minister of the DTIC who will address us on these opportunities. I almost said Your Excellency. I guess that's still appropriate. Deputy Minister, it's over to you. Deputy Minister Gina.
Again, my apologies. Let me greet the convener, Mr. Mbele. Greetings to the TG, Mr. Paul Mashatile, Her Excellency, Catherine Mwangi, High Commissioner, His Excellency, Mahlangu, all the business leaders that are present here, the diplomatic corps that we are with here, greetings to everyone. It is indeed a great pleasure for me that I'm here to share some of the information and just to be part of this very important seminar that has been organized by the Progressive Business Forum between our sister country, Kenya. There is no doubt that Kenya is one of the strongest economy in the East Africa and indeed in the Sub-Sahara. Like South Africa in the Southern Africa, Kenya stands as a beacon of a solid democracy, charting her development path with an interesting gusto. This seminar that has been convened under this theme, South Africa, Kenya, growing and promoting business. It's a very important seminar because I think it's one seminar that is going to pave so many ways where when we are saying we've got a relations and relationship with Kenya, we are going to pave and even open up more avenues for us to do that. It stands to reason that promotion of business between these two countries will not only benefit both of us, but will indirectly benefit the countries within the continent blocks and the continental blocks that both the countries are members and are doing trade. With all the challenging times that everyone has alluded to, where we are meeting under this pandemic of COVID-19 and the devastation that we have seen to our economy, we are still determined is to say we are going to succeed with the resilience that we are having in making sure that there is no collapse of the economy, and we are pushing and looking forward and making forward is to say, what is it that we can do, the both countries, in making sure that we do succeed under these trying times. During this time, and during this period of 2016-2020, the bilateral trade between ourselves, South Africa, and South African export to Kenya increased. That is between 2016 and 2020. We have seen the exports from South Africa to Kenya increasing from 8 billion in 2016 to about 45 billion in 2020. Though in between we've had some challenges here and there, but we are standing at that as we are talking right now. And South Africa's imports from Kenya, in 2016, we've seen it declining from 290 million to 279 million in 2018. But what is good and I'm happy about is that in 2020, we've seen and registered an increase to 327 million of those investments. So what does that mean? It means there's a very fertile ground between the two countries, and the way that we operate and we manage our relations can even see more opportunities and more fruits to be reaped through these bilateral trade relations that we have between the two countries. Both our countries are working in a number of protocols in the economy, from tourism, fisheries, energy, ICT, agricultural trade, just to mention a few, but there are so many other sectors that we are working on. In growing and promoting business between the two countries will be advantageous because the strength from each country in one particular economic sector may benefit other, which may be weaker in that other sector, and vice versa. Sectors such as agriculture, which is the backbone of Kenya, is something that we need to cooperate more in doing business in both countries, and we have strong footprints in manufacturing, which we need to harness. Both countries are doing very well on information and communications technology, which is becoming a mainstay of modern economy with an advent of the fourth industrial revolution. We must encourage our entrepreneurs to collaborate in developing business solutions and new enterprises that will enhance trade between the two countries. The fintech and the tech companies are operating virtually without countries' borders and can find markets across countries without physical interactions. We must facilitate these business explorations, especially from our young entrepreneurs among these countries, to maximize the business activity. And as Her Highness have correctly mentioned, we are at both countries, we are at the advantage of our young population that we have that is very much vibrant and vigilant. So when it comes to the information and communications, we know how strong these countries are, and the talks that are there and the interaction that are there. It's one area where we can build very strong relations and make use of the vibrancy that we have in both countries. When looking at the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, as we are all looking at the opportunities that might be coming with us. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement provides an accelerated increase in our trade cooperation. The FTSA will boost infra and intra-African trades by 52.3% once import duties and non-tariff barriers are eliminated. This free trade agreement will cover a GDP of $2.5 trillion on the market. As South African government, we have gazetted African free trade deals regulations, including a list of thousands of products that can be imported and exported duty-free in future years. In this way, we want also to bring new competitors from other African countries to local markets, while expanding for us to other markets in the continent. African continent has sufficient raw material, which requires collective pooling and harnessing for the continent to be self-sustainable. We have a mandate as African governments to make a free trade agreement dispensation to work for African countries as a whole, not just those with big and sophisticated economies. Our both capacities as fast-growing emerging economies in the continent will augur well in promoting partnership, cooperation, and mutual reinforcement of each other than real competition. In that way, our growth paths and trajectories will enable a smaller economies in our regions to harvest from ourselves. The immediate task is to remove trade barriers as quickly as possible and promote African continent and content in our commodities. Key in this regard is the adherence to the rules of origin as the base principle of the African Free Trade Agreement. We must deliberate in our promotion in building downstream beneficiations and markets for those finished commodities across the continent. Let's draw from our own strengths as the two countries that we are here. Building of the manufacturing industries for beneficiation is a cornerstone for our industrialization and independence as Africa. Such is the promotion of Africa by Africans with less or no reliance to other external markets for imports. We must open up for our Black SMMEs to sell products reciprocally. And whilst we're talking to the issue of SMMEs, as you have correctly put it, Program Director, Ms. Mabe, as to say, what is it that we can do to make sure that we don't talk to those only big companies that are there, but we walk the walk with the SMMEs, with our SMMEs. At the level of the trade and industry, we always make sure that we have, let me start here. We have our division where we deal with the issues of trade, where we have even our export missions, where we make sure that after we have negotiated with various countries, like we are in this trade relationship, even with Kenya, as our commissioner has said to Mr. Mahlangu, the talks that are there, we even open up for those missions, for those missions where our own companies will all go out and advertise and promote what the products that we are having. So our department is ever open for that. We have got all the divisions, we have got all the Invest SA, where we are promoting, even guiding our own companies as to say what is expected of them when they go all out and make sure that they assure and promote their products. So we are open as DTIC to make sure that with all those companies who see the opportunities as they are being open even today, come closer to the Department of Trade and Industry. We'll always work, hold your hand and make sure that we open up those opportunities. Many of the SMEs has benefited through our missions and all the opportunities that we are opening. So really DTIC, it's open to that. As I continue, DTIC on behalf of government, again, we are geared towards ensuring that our largest manufactured products enjoys the African markets through the African Continental Free Trade Area. We are aiming at having the rules of origin covering 87 to 90% of products on our tariff book adopted by the head of states and conclude bilateral offers with a number of countries. And it's one thing really where we are saying as South Africa, we really want to take a lead, and we are trying by all means to make sure that we open up for our SMMEs, we open up for our markets to make sure that they benefit in this free trade continental area that we have just signed. The above import and export figures between the two countries offers hope that a deliberate intensification of trade between us and by extension market access from both trading blocs we find ourselves will produce a prototype for what trade relations can be pursued even within the umbrella of the continental free trade area. This becomes all the more instructive in the wake of COVID-19 destruction in our economies and a quest to reconstruction and recovery plans. The global economy is recovering, and we hope that Africa will recover from the cauldrons and rise again once more to the growth path when it comes to our economy. In this context, building of the SMMEs and opening markets within the continent for intra-continental trade will be the surest path to success. To the government of Kenya, we want to reiterate their comments and the fact that Africa is open, Africa is one destination that is very fertile when it comes to the opportunities of trade. To our own companies from Africa, from South Africa, what we want to assure you is that we as government, we are open, we are there for you when you want to get the opportunities to get to Kenya and other countries in Africa. We recommit ourselves in making sure that we'll walk the walk with you and make sure that all those opportunities are open. We are looking forward to so many engagements that we are ever having with the government of Kenya. At the level of trade and industry, both ministries are in talks. We are going to have a meeting very soon in making sure that we strengthen and make our relationships even stronger for the fertile ground for both our economies. And when it comes to trade, let us make our both our countries fertile for the trade. So that is what we want to assure our South African companies and also the Kenyan companies, that South Africa will always be open for you for your trade. In South Africa, we are strengthening those relationships. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Really, really appreciate it. I think what you had given us is the sense that in terms of the macroeconomic policies and trade and competition, is that the policies are very well regulated, and there's a level of rigidity that there isn't a room to maneuver outside what the framework is. Having said that, but there is assistance from the DTIC and its counterparts to assist SMEs, regardless of which level or lifespan of your business that you are in, be it from a startup to acquisition, perhaps to even wanting to expand your businesses across the borders, that there is that kind of assistance. And I hope that our subscribers would be able to utilize that kind of assistance with the framework that it brings as well to grow your business. It's not going to be overnight, but it is doable. Hashtag it is possible. So thank you very much for that, Deputy Minister. Really, really appreciate it. We are pressed for time, so I'm going to try and race through as quickly as possible so we can get to the Q&A as well and give the participants an opportunity to engage as well. So our next speaker, or the next segment of the program, is the panelists who will give us more tangible examples of the opportunities that exist and lived experiences as well in this space. Mr. Moffat Andanje is the chairperson of the Kenya-South Africa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's over to you, sir, and your 5 minutes starts now. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Moffat Andanje, Kenya-South Africa Business Chamber. And let me first of all maybe say thank you very much for the presence of the excellencies in Kenya, Mr. Mahlangu, South Africa, Ms. Catherine Mwangi, and then we have also the ANC Supremo, TG Paul Mashatile, Deputy Minister Gina, the panelists, the convener. Thank you very much for this time that you've given us. We are a business chamber that is seeking to represent businesses in these two countries who were established in 2008. And we as a chamber, we're going to do what the minister actually was saying, the how to. And I remember the convener also saying how to. That's what we really need to do, because as much as we can talk in conferences, the how to is very important. And we've had companies, we've looked at them, those that have invested in Kenya from South Africa, and those that are seeking to invest in South Africa from Kenya. They've got so many opportunities, untapped opportunities, but unless somebody then opens their eyes, or rather shows them or holds their hands. So we seek to be rather the in-between, between the South African businesses and the Kenyan businesses, and also to work hand in hand with the departments, DTI, and the Kenya Department of Investment. In so doing, we hope to actually open the eyes, not only the doors. The doors have been opened with the policies, and I want to thank the government for their good policies in between the two countries, and much more so the Africa Free Trade that has come in operation. But as we know, Kenya being the don't want to call it the giant, but the landing space in East Africa for an investor. South Africa in that sense also, Nigeria in the west and Egypt in the north. We need these pillar countries to actually be more active in harnessing this investment, the intra-Africa investments. So in a small part, we'll play in between Kenya and South Africa. I know, so in our mandate that we are giving ourselves, is to look at those opportunities in Kenya and look at opportunities in South Africa, and then lead or guide the businesses towards those opportunities. And then we've also found out that there are so many challenges that you find new companies are going into Kenya or those coming into South Africa face. So we'll try and address those challenges and put them on an open plate that they could see that and be guided accordingly. And then the how-to part, that's the exciting one. We're looking forward very soon to start trade exchanges. And the very first one after our launch, and I would like to invite all of you sometime in September, we'll confirm the dates. We'll launch in South Africa, and then we'll launch in Kenya also. And the first very thing that we will do is not only networking, but program exchange. We know we've seen this when students exchange from one country to another to learn the cultures. But this time around, we want to practice the same philosophy, but business-wise. You find that, and the first one that we'll look at will be, I'm talking now about the how-to, and I believe that's our mandate. I've been telling my board of directors, our mandate is how to, not really to talk about what is there, but to show and guide the business people on what to do. So you'll find that in Kenya, for instance, the small scale farmers are very advanced, and they could do, they could till half an acre, and take their children to school and do all that is needed, like, earn a living. And in South Africa, we have huge tracts of land. So we were thinking that knowledge that the Kenyans have the other end, can it not come down? And this is the bottom-up approach on agriculture. If they were to come here and we till together with the South Africans and show them on how cooperatives work, because that on that scale, Kenya, I believe, is more advanced. Now, when we come to agro-processing, as Her Excellency mentioned, South Africa is also more advanced than Kenya. How can we take then the agro-processing people from South Africa companies into Kenya and let them teach them, or rather open up farms for packaging and the rest, so that the products can be presentable to the international market. Then you look at mining, where South Africa is more advanced and Kenya is walking steps, a toddler as regards mining. They're starting to discover this gold in the Western area and so many other minerals at the coastal belt. So then South African companies that are more advanced and they've got skilled labor force, can we harness them to be found the other side, opening up the smaller companies or bigger companies? And then there are so many other issues that we look at, like litigation, arbitration. I've seen why in the formative years, so many companies that had gone to Kenya from South Africa found it hard to cope with the local competition. So all that guidance will be coming from the chamber. So we'll work hand in hand with the governments and the ministries, the departments of trade, the high commissions, to make sure that there's some kind of formality and also explanation and just a platform for them to get the necessary information. And we hold their hands as we go into those countries. So that's our brief as a chamber. Our website for the companies that are here is www.KESAcB, Kenya, South Africa Chamber of Business, KESAcB.com. So we encourage you to join, and we'll be publishing all those tenders in Kenya, tenders in South Africa. We'll offer services like contracts. We'll have lawyers offering those services, writing the contracts. We'll have like submission of tenders from South Africa. Those, if you want to bid in Kenya, we'll guide you and actually courier and submit your tender. You don't have really to be there. So that's what we looking forward to do, and to be the how do we do these things? How do we do these things on behalf of the business community in the two countries? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. Mr. Moffat Andanje, Chairperson of the Kenya South Africa Chamber of Business. You read the brief and the memo very well that says, do more and talk less. And over and above that, opened your networks and skills and services for people to submit for opportunities. And I think the public sector is your multiplier of opportunities and employment, as we've seen around the continent. The tenders for South Africa and Kenya, I know that our subscribers would be keenly engaging with you. So I'll just repeat the website. It's KESAcB or KESAcB.com. That's Kilo Echo Sapphire Alpha Charlie Bravo, KESAcB.com for SA and Kenya opportunities. And I love that you draw the comparison in terms of our areas of strength and the Kenya's areas of strength, and where we can collaborate to improve and grow together. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Andanje. You touched on agro-processing, all the other sectors, but you omitted to mention one of the economies that surpasses many, albeit that it may not deal with commodities, and this is in the beauty and cosmetic space. There's a company called Mabutolicious Cosmetics Pty Ltd. Sandra, who has posted on the comment section, perhaps you want to also visit the comment section and see if you can respond directly to the questions posted there. And there is one from an energy company that says, thank you so much, Your Excellency Mwangi, for the presentation and to encourage the PP or triple Ps, the public-private sector partnerships, and that Kenya is ready to govern. So we're going to move on swiftly to our next speaker, who is Dr. Peter Karungu, who is the CEO of Synthecon. And your 5 minutes starts now, Dr. Karungu. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Program Director, the High Commissioners, the Treasurer General of the ANC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. It is my pleasure to introduce myself first as an economist, an academic, and somebody who has thought deeply about this continent in lieu of businesses. So when I speak, I'll speak both as an economist, a motivational speaker, and a businessman. What do? I manufacture surgical sutures. What are surgical sutures? Surgical sutures are the products that are used by surgeons to stitch back human beings when they open. How did I start? Because it's one of the most challenging business one can ever try to do. I started because I defined a problem when I gave a speech in Kimberley, and somebody asked me to get involved in the business to save jobs, only to find out what she asked me to do was to manufacture this product. This product is used for circumcision, is used for the liver, is used for the gums. I asked them how much does it cost after I saw the production, and I was told it costs 47 rand to make. And when I flew back from Kimberley to Johannesburg, after 2 weeks, the product was sold from 900 rands to 4,219 a box. And I said the continent can't afford. It took me 6 years to see whether I could make it, and with a lot of cost. Today, the product is sold everywhere in South Africa less than 300 rands. So what I keep on saying is the following. If you want to do business, find out a problem facing the African people. Say to yourself, you can do it and you can change it. Today, we export to literally 14 African countries. Today, as you're gonna see, most of our payroll is managed from export. I export 60% of my turnover in this business. Today, we have over 82 people when we used to have 100 plus in South Africa in the factory, but now we have 30 or so across the continent. What do we say we do? We provide the continent the one of the most best suture ever made. Last week, we received an email from one of the most prominent professor in heart surgery called Professor White. He said, Peter, you people have made a product that nobody else has in the world. Indeed, he said, you have sutures to repair human heart better than what we have in the US. This is in writing. But 2, this box is for repairing human heart. In here is used when they open the heart. Costed in Kenya, 300,000 shillings. Today is less than 90,000 shillings. South Africa, it used to cost 40,000 rands. Today is less than 9,000 rands. Our mission is one and one only. The Black people can make it no matter how difficult the challenge is. Point number 2, you got to be able to believe in our people. You have to create jobs, sustainable jobs. I'll show you, because of time, I had prepared more than I should have, a little bit of slides, but more important is to assure you, particularly our ambassador from Kenya, Your Excellency Catherine, I have known about you for a while. I'm working together with a group of academics in Kenya because I also needed to build a factory in Kenya. Factory would be to make plates for orthopedic surgery because it's very expensive. Where are we falling short as a continent? We are falling short because as we make this product, it's easier to sell our product in the United States as well as in Mexico than in our own continent. Because they are associated with the stigma, they are damn expensive. They are made by American. Peter and the lies can't make it. Convert that attitude and that narrative is very painful. To the Minister of Trade and Industry, I create jobs as much as I could. During the last pandemic year, last year, because we had exported heavily to Kenya, Uganda, and Ghana, we paid everybody in our company 14 checks. Obviously, 12 is their right, 13th is the bonus, and then the 14th check was in lieu of COVID to make sure that everybody has insurance in case they die. But question is, what happens in South Africa? If I don't export, I'm closed down. If I don't get South Africa to buy, which they don't, I'll close down. So I'm able to do as much as I can to get Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, Mauritius, you name it, buy enough for me to pay salaries. I think we need to start in retrospectively asking, do we get to support SMMEs? To all the panelists, I invite you to see a factory built by 6 Black people, South African 3, Kenyan 2, there are 5, that has shocked the world. And I'm saying this because the surgeon who visited here said this could not believe how this was done. That's why DC, who gave me the first loan, they gave me the working capital, they gave me money to buy the factory, refurbished the factory, and also gave me a guarantee. But the market does not accommodate to buy for South African companies. Now, come to facts. All governments in Africa, most of their budget go to education and health, either one or the other. Now, in health, there is two products that they have to operate a hospital. The pharmaceutical product, those are the medicines, and what we call medical gadgets or devices. Except South Africa, all pharmaceutical in Africa is imported. About 15% of what Africa consumes is made in Africa, coming from South Africa. Among the devices where the sutures sit, they are barely 40%. Look, we spend so much money on import for that which costs very little. This product I'm showing all of you costs 13,000 rands to stitch the cornea of the eye. 13,000, it cost me 400 rands to make. Tell me why do we not ask ourselves, can we sustain this? This product is for cornea, is done for the eyes, and it costs about 12,000 minimum everywhere you go in South Africa. Cost me 480 rand to make. Question is, we're gonna also use it from the US as much as we want, understand that. But we cannot also say, if we support our industries, we can cut this cost to the bone and save money. Like I say, time notwithstanding, we have had an opportunity to do this if we can meet each other somewhere and ask yourself. Yesterday when I was watching TV, sometimes we cry as economists because you could see, if I had the opportunity to be supported a little bit, I could get those mothers I see running and give them permanent jobs, which permanent job means they are paid well, they work for 8 hours, they have pension, they have medical aid, and they are dignified as much as possible. I could and I will create 300 jobs in the next few years. But it's difficult because we have to get an American professor to just buy more. He believes in it, then we can believe in ourselves. Finally, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, maybe I invite each one of you at your own leisure, at your own time, to come and see the capability of mothers in this country, because this factory, 80% of the people who are making this product are all women. And they make each and every suture humanly possible. Like I said, we received a letter yesterday from Professor White, who is building the biggest heart institute in Africa in a place called Bomet in Tenwek, who said, Peter, you have created a product that we would want everybody to see. Now, what's the issue here? First of all, the issue here is that, A, we are blinded to loyalty in the medical space. The doctors in Africa are always looking for Johnson & Johnson, Philip and Nephew, GlaxoSmith, you name it. On the other hand, we have appetite to import because we don't know what they are. They are sold as insulin. If you don't have it, you die. That's normally how they market the product. But if you ask us to engage with them and call a meeting, in a board meeting, and the minister says, I want to meet all the manufacturers of sutures worldwide, we're going to challenge the issues because the fact we have are going to change it. But more important is to address the following issue. One, the barrier to entry for South Africa anywhere in the world. It's easier for me to get a product from the US, but when the US doctors demand sutures from your factory here, professors in Brown University saying, Peter, how do we import these sutures for the heart to the US? The answer is I can't because of FDA. I can't spend $1 million to get the license when I should use that to build another factory. So we need to start engaging. How do we make sure we are globally competitive? Within Africa, we are doing very well. And we can guarantee you that every single month, I get a delegation from Ethiopia. Can you come build a factory like this in Ethiopia? No, I can't. I get a factory request from Ghana. Peter, you can duplicate this. I can't because the market is not big. Of course, in Kenya, where I grew up, where I come from, I have appetite also to build a factory, and I intend to do that in the next 3-4 years. Not for Kenyans, not for me, but for the continent. We've got to be passionate and compassionate about job creation, but more than that, bringing the cost of what is sold 4,000 to 300-400, and you still create jobs, and you save the continent a lot of money. That's the kind of business we intend to do. The other one is to start saying all factories worldwide were protected initially. We call it infant industry argument. It says, give us a chance to grow a little bit, because you can't give your firstborn child a day-old baby to play with a year-old. Give us a chance to develop and then open the market. Protect us within the rules of engagement via DTI. If you protect some of this industry for 2 years, when the market is receiving them, then you can be able to open the competition. That way we can build many, many small industries at a rate that we could create a parallel number of jobs. I thank you.
I thank you so much, Dr. Karungu. Thank you indeed for highlighting certain things that we're uncomfortable in talking about, that Afro-pessimism still exists when it comes to our ability and in also the innovation that Africa is able to create. So thank you for your presentation. I'm really sorry that we're quickly running out of time, and I'd encourage the participants and the subscribers to engage and exchange numbers and email addresses. Seth is on standby to also answer your questions. We literally have 10 minutes that we need to wrap up in. So with that said, I'd like to invite Mr. Sanele Masuku from the Sanron Oil Group, who will give a 5-minute presentation. Mr. Masuku, you are last but not least. Thank you so much for your time. It's over to you, sir. Mr. Masuku? Sanele is still in the
Good evening.
seminar. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much.
Yes, good evening to the conveners, to the TG, to the High Commissioners, and to the panelists. Sanron Transformer Group, it's a company that deals with power stations and substations. It's mostly assist in the production and regeneration of electricity. It's a company that supplies transformer oil in most local and international companies. We have done supplies in ESCOM. We've done supplies in some of other companies outside the country. We don't just sell transformer oil, we also supply transformers, switchgear, and that also, we also provide the after-sale services to the products and components that we supply. We have done our research in terms of supplying transformer oil in Kenya. We as far as went to submitting our samples to the KEB, that is your Kenya standards of Kenya standards, Kenya Kurewa standards for testing. We have certificates from them certifying our products that we can actually supply Kenya with our products. Our target mostly, we wish to supply Kenya. In Kenya, there's when we went there, we found out there's two companies that supply electricity. That is your KPLC and your KNG. We wish to supply them directly. We wish to supply them with transformer oil. We wish to supply them with transformers. We wish to supply them with our services and products. That is your after-sale services. It is our dream that one day we will be able to do that in the near future. I was so happy to hear the minister saying and telling us the opportunities, as well as the High Commissioner from Kenya, Mr. Mwangi, telling us for the opportunities that are available in Kenya for us to do business with. I would really love an opportunity whereby we can actually exhaust this, explore these opportunities to do business with Kenya. We would love to supply them. We will appreciate an opportunity to supply them. Most of all the time that we struggle with supplying outside the countries, that we run out of people to assist, we run out of assistance, we run out of I don't know what to say, but most of the time we struggle to supply outside this country. But we will appreciate an opportunity whereby we can just supply our Kenyan counterparts, work with them. There's a lot that this country can do in terms of business when it comes to the Kenyan industry. We would like to assist them with a lot of things when it comes to power generation, power distribution, and even their substation maintenance, including test services. We have all the services to provide them, and we would like an opportunity to do that with our friends in Kenya. Thank you so much. Our company, it's our website, it's www.sanronoilgroup.co.za. You can contact us as sales@sanronoilgroup.co.za. Our phone numbers are 060-418-299-8. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Masuku, for your testimonial, saying that they've already got approval in Kenya from the regulator for the standard bureau. Is that the standard of approval? The SABS equivalent of Kenya to do business there. Is that correct?
Yes, it's
okay,
called
but
KEBS.
All right.
Yes.
All right, got you. Please stay on the line. If you may go to the chat room and the Q&As, Mr. Masuku, and our panelists to please answer some of the questions before we close. There's one in particular. Thank you, Mr. Masuku. You may mute your video and sound as well. There's one from James Pitt, a diamond. He says they have a license for diamonds, and they want to know from the two governments how young entrepreneurs can penetrate the mining sector in Kenya. Your Excellency, Ambassador, if maybe you can take that. I'm not sure if you would want to deal with specifically policy-related questions, but we'll just pose that. We'll go back to Ambassador Mahlangu. If Your Excellency, High Commissioner, I beg your pardon. If you can just deal with these questions very quickly, similar in nature. How do we, or who do we speak to, doors that we need to knock on to ensure that the process, at least the mistakes that others have made, we don't have to repeat those, and we can explore opportunities in that sense. We'll start with you, Your Excellency Mahlangu.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. We have posted our email address through the Council of Economic DTI in our mission. All those people who have asked questions, maybe you could just specify the real problem that you have, and then we can directly connect with our colleagues in Kenya and we can be in a position to assist where is possible. For an example, there's a question which is saying, how do I export wine to Kenya? Now, we would like to know what are the problems. Is it distribution? Is it duties? What is the real problem that the person has? And then we can be in a position to investigate that, discuss with the government of Kenya, and be in a position to respond to that particular person. The other question was, of course, in terms of opening a shop in Kenya, what do I do? If you tell us what is the problem, is it a problem of registering procedures, or perhaps is it an appropriate location that you want to know, you have done your homework? We don't know what your real problem is. We could be in a position to deal with that, connect you or work with colleagues in Kenya and assist you to get your business going on. And we can also, through the Department of Foreign Affairs, clarify policy issues in terms of that and come back to you. But don't be afraid to communicate with us. We are available. Thank you, Sindy.
Thank you, High Commissioner, Your Excellency Mahlangu, for that. And I think that is a bit of homework that we need to do, because it's one thing to want assistance, but if you haven't identified which areas of intervention you would require, then it just makes things a little bit more drawn out unnecessarily. So thank you, Your Excellency Mahlangu. Another question is, about agro-processing as well. We tend to highlight the problems as opposed to where the solutions reside. The access to land issue we cannot avoid, Your Excellency Mahlangu, in how do we ensure food security, create opportunities in that space while we still have this legacy of displacement and lack of access to land as well. How would you respond to that very briefly, sir?
Are you talking, I'm sorry, Sindy, are you talking about the land issue where?
Yes, primarily one of the questions was about the agro-processing, and I know Mr. Moffat had said that there are expertise and skills that we can utilize, to support each other. So in South Africa in particular, where there may be issues of lack of access to land, or you don't have the capital to procure the land, but you have the skills to farm and provide food security, you're saying that assistance can be in that space as well, where, be it at government level, or how do people navigate those kind of real obstacles, Your Excellency?
Thank you very much. Now the question is a bit clearer. I think in terms of the land, we can engage with our government in the country if a person has spotted the piece of land somewhere where he wants to do business in South Africa. And you need to, of course, check the laws that are available in the country and check with government of the departments, for an example, Department of Land Affairs and Agriculture. So we can talk with them and check the laws that bind us as to how we should deal with the issues of the land currently. We can look into those issues. And in terms of the capital, also, there are institutions that people can access to get financial assistance in order for them to be able to deal with the capital that they need in order to do what we call their businesses. And we can also knock at the door of DTI, which is actually the one that deals with all the coordination of economic diplomacy. They can direct and be able to give the direction where to go to and how can they assist. That is the easiest to knock at the door of DTI in South Africa, because they can get into all the doors of other departments and unlock that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. There's a question for Her Excellency Mwangi from Sandra Mabuto, who is a makeup art or makeup manufacturer, and would appreciate contact details in terms of her brand is Mabutolicious Cosmetics Pty Ltd. Why I'm raising some of these questions, Your Excellency Mwangi, as you respond, the terms of engagement. Sometimes you might be even knocking at the wrong door or not utilizing the correct channels in getting your services and products available. So maybe you can guide us how then, in this case, if you're in the beauty, cosmetics space, as Sandra is, how does one then engage to open the opportunities for trade or even talks for that matter?
Okay, thank you very much, Program Director. Yeah, let me first of all say that I'm encouraged because I think that we're going to have very good synergy between the High Commission in the South African High Commission in Nairobi, the Kenya High Commission in Pretoria, as well as the South Africa-Kenya Chamber that Mr. Andanje represented. And I think that synergy is then going to work extremely well for business people who want to do business in either countries. Because I guess what is really missing from this, the questions that are coming up is that people don't know where to ask these questions. For instance, when you talk about makeup and beauty products, first of all, to say that I think that it has potential in my own country because we are Africans, and so much of the makeup or beauty products that sometimes finds its way to Kenya, if it's coming from Europe, may not necessarily be good for the African skin. So that this is a ready market, that this is a product that's coming from another African country that has taken into consideration and appreciated the special needs of African skin. Now, again, we would need to know a little more about how do you want to get into the Kenyan market as a wholesaler? So you're looking for a wholesaler who will then distribute it for you, or so that's why what I would like to encourage is, and I've put it on the chat, that we have a designated trade desk at the mission. And this trade desk receives questions like this, like we want to do this, we get in touch with Nairobi, we get a suitable partner, or we get to answer the questions that we need to answer. But the first thing I think is that, as you said, one needs to be quite specific when you're seeking information or you want support in something, so that we can also help you, because otherwise we may come back to you with information that is not helpful. So I think because time is short here, what I'd like to encourage is that the email address is trade and investment, one word, trade and investment @kenya.org.za. All small letters, trade and investment @kenya.org.za. Now, as I said, this is a desk designated to handle trade, investment, inquiries. So once an inquiry comes in, you can be sure that it will be responded to. And I think what I will encourage, and I hope that the chamber will support us in this, is that where we feel the chamber is best suited to be able to help us answer a question or to engage with a particular business person, then we will rope in the chamber. So I think the message I'd like to put across for all these people who have questions, and also, of course, I would want to ask the convener, Sipho, if I don't know how we can get a hold of these questions that I've seen in the chat box, so we can start trying to answer them. But also, just the message is that I hope that we have demonstrated in our communication how keen we are and how interested we are in promoting business between these two countries. And therefore, we are also extremely ready to help, to support, to guide, to bring together business to business. So the important thing here is, I hope that with the contacts that we've given, both my dear colleague, the High Commissioner of South Africa in Nairobi, and myself, and the Chamber, we've all given our contact details, and that you will be able to communicate with us, and that I hope we will not let you down, but that we should be able to respond with information that is both of value and that is useful, and that is what I guess will realize the discussion we've had today. That is what will realize real action, because I don't think it will be fair for me to try and answer anything here, because I don't have a clear sort of end answer to any of these questions. So I hope that it is sufficient that we've given you that email address to which you can send all your questions. And of course, once you send an email address, we will also give a phone number so there can be also a phone conversation if necessary. I thank you. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Mwangi, for your patience as well. And I think this is what is required, that when somebody asks a question, there isn't ever a stupid question. You're only ignorant once until somebody shows you differently. So we really appreciate that you have opened yourself up and even assisting at a level that may not necessarily be where you are hands-on, but you can direct people accordingly. So thank you very much. We really appreciate. There's so many questions, and as Her Excellency Mwangi was saying, the Progressive Business Forum, the admin staff, will ensure that these questions have been sent to our panelists, and this recording will also be posted on the PBF platform on YouTube. That is the PBF at ANC PBF, and also on the YouTube channel. I just want to make sure I've got the handles correct. So thank you very much, Your Excellency Mwangi. And I just request, Deputy Minister, if you would also respond in terms of the DTIC. Information is abound, and sometimes it might just be that it's so technically orientated, or that it is a language barrier even, because how do you translate the green economy or pipelines and that kind of thing in any other language for people to understand that it is accessible? It's not necessarily as difficult as it may appear. So just your closing remarks, Deputy Minister, and then we'll ask the convener to also close with his closing remarks. It's over to you, Deputy Minister. Gina.
Thank you very much, Sindy. Sindy, I've seen the questions on the chat, and even the issue of the contact person whom they can contact. I think I've responded on the chat. But what I want to comment on is to say, as the department, really, I would like us to open these lines of communications, and these questions that are raised here are some of the questions that really that we need to have a platform where we can engage with our own business people and have talks to say what best can we do together, like the issues of red tapes that are there, where we can even explain as to say, very shortly, I will just say there is a gap that has been identified, as it has been raised here, on how we are funding the gaps, the thresholds that are there. Just to explain, to say what is it that we are doing as DTIC to close that and make sure that we cover for all the people, between what small business can do, what DTIC can do, how do we cover the gap. Therefore, there is a lot of work that is being done that is trying to respond to the questions. But specifically, Sindy, let me respond to this one of the moratorium that has been talked about here and asked on DTIC by UCV, when he said he went to South Sudan and Kenya to try and establish the office, only to find that there was a moratorium that has been imposed by DTIC. I would fully agree with that, but again, can I invite him to come closer to us? Is the moratorium that has been done just because of COVID-19, because there were no traveling between the countries and so forth? as to if ever there are really challenges that he encountered, we are open. Let us look at that. That is going to be lifted as we are moving out, as soon as we move out of this period. Those are the things that we thought they were well communicated to our business people, but we can see that there are still challenges. Yes, other challenges we really acknowledge, and there is so much that you are working with. But the numbers of John that is working with us when it comes to the trade between Kenya and South Africa have been shared here. And also, I always emphasize, as is even to say, you can even elevate those challenges if you don't find joy to the level of the ministry. You can contact my office, the minister's office, so that we can see how we really put our hand and assist our companies whenever they've got challenges. But I think really I would love to concur and agree with Dr. Karungu when he says this is the period that has taught us as a country, as to say, we cannot rely on imports as we have been doing. So what are the lessons learned? How do we assist our companies to make sure that they come up and occupy that space? That is exactly the talks that you are saying we need to have with our companies, as to say, how do we upscale our production? How, when we talk of industrialization in South Africa, what is it that together we can do as government so that we make sure that we close the gap that has been openly and glaringly being exposed through this period? So thank you very much, Sindy. I hope through this seminar, there are a lot of opportunities that have been opened, and the engagements that will take forward with our own people moving forward. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Minister, for your time and your patience as well. So the contact details, email addresses are on the chat, and the
Ladies and
at ANCP, and we'll take it from there. The convener, Mr. Sipho Mbele, will give us the final concluding remarks, and also thank all our guests. Thank you so much for the opportunity, convener. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sindy. This concludes the formalities for today's, ladies and gentlemen. Our sincere thanks and appreciations goes to Comrade Paul Mashatile, the Treasurer General of the ANC, who tirelessly support, provide leadership and guidance to the PBF, and we really appreciate the work that you are doing. The Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Honorable Gina, whose departments takes a lead in South Africa trade and industry endeavors, and with whom we are grateful to work together. The High Commissioner of South Africa to Kenya, His Excellency Mahlangu, the High Commissioner of Kenya, Mwangi, and we're looking forward to strengthen this relationship. Our guest speakers, our panelists from Kenya business representatives, Dr. Karungu, Mr. Moffat Andanje, Mr. Sanele Masuku of Sanron Group, to the program director today, Cindy Mabe. Thank you for being part of this important webinar today and for empowering us with all your knowledge and expertise. If I may ask the speakers to provide us with the presentations and the contact details in the event of failure queries, it will be most valuable to the attendees and subscribers today. To you all, our honored guests, the diplomats, subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation today. The PBF is the first and foremost about people, and will continue to strive to create the future platforms and opportunities such as today to harness our collective strengths for a future well within our grasp. We hope today's event has inspired all of us. We're looking forward to seeing you in our next engagement. I'd like to thank the team from PBF for putting up this event. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I declare the event officially closed.
The National Executive Committee declares the theme for 2021 to be Unity, Renewal, and Reconstruction in the year of Charlotte Maxeke.
The past year has been challenging for all of us. The coronavirus and its impact has been felt the world over. But the strength of the South African people has always been measured by its resilience and fortitude. and the willingness to unite and stand together. The African National Congress proudly presents the Progressive Business Forum, the platform to herald a new dawn for the South African economy, bringing accountability, transparency, and opportunity to the business community, and striving to give effect to the call for a social compact with business. The Progressive Business Forum harnesses the power of technology, making it easier than ever before to unlock your business's potential. As a truly inclusive portal for all, your inputs are now able to reach the highest level of attention of our ANC leadership and government leaders, connecting you to an economic hub bursting with possibilities. It's a new modern look, underpinned by a traditional set of values that puts you, our subscribers, first. So, how can you be a part of it? Simple. Sign in, enter your business's details, and choose the package that best represents your company's goals. Our platform is safe, easy to use, POPIA compliant, and joining gains you access to a galaxy of benefits. From exclusive ministerial networking events to world-class webinars, workshops, skills training, trade facilitation, women in business, and so much more, the Progressive Business Forum platform becomes your gateway to a future never dreamed possible. Together, let's resolve the challenges facing our country and build a prosperous future. South Africa is ready to grow. Are you?